everybody, I am Tiffany and today I am doing another movie review. Let's go. I know I didn't have one up last week, I am sorry. I'm definitely going to try and make an announcement video really soon just to kind of stick to a schedule more so. Still trying to stick to the schedule as much as I can. I know it's kind of iffy, but I think I've said in another video before, Wednesdays are always going to be movie reviews if I have one ready. Saturdays are always going to be book reviews, and Mondays are going to be fun stuff that I'm going to try and start doing, like countdowns of like favorite authors and movies, or Q&A, or some type of tag, something like that. So that's my plan with that. I also want to start doing book and movie reviews combined on Monday as well. If you have the movie and you've read the book, it doesn't really fall under movie and it doesn't really fall under book. It falls under both. So I feel like it'd be really good to have those on Monday. When I just have the book, do those on Saturday. When I just have the movie, do those on Wednesday. But I definitely do want to try and start doing fun little tags and stuff like that on Monday and vlogging if anything cool happens. Just give me your thoughts on that if you'd like. I'd love to hear some of your suggestions. I really want to make this channel interactive, and of course I have some ideas on my own that I know I'm going to do, but hearing from you guys and hearing what you want to see too, like I love your suggestions on books and movies. That's why I always ask for them at the end of every video. And if you do have a tag that you really like, or you do want to do a Q&A or something like that, just let me know and I'll definitely take it into consideration and see what I can do on that. So don't be afraid to comment and give me your suggestions on books and movies to review next, and if you want to see some other fun type of video. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get into the movie I am reviewing. The movie I'm reviewing today, if you haven't seen by the title already, is Unbreakable, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. This is my M. Night Shyamalan shirt because I'm pretty sure some of you have noticed I wore this for my Split movie review as well. I'll leave a link to it in the description below for you so you can check out that one too. I have been dying to see this movie. I know that I said I was going to see it in my Split video, and I've even had a comment saying make sure you do a review on it once you watch it, which was totally my plan in the first place. But it's taken me forever to watch it. I'm going to tell you why in story time! Let's go! So this is a short story time, so don't worry about that. This movie has been the most frustrating movie for me to watch. I have been scouring it on TV and everything for the longest time because when I went to find movies on DVD, I didn't see it there. So I didn't spend a ton of time trying to search for it in DVD format or Blu-ray format. I maybe should have. One magical day, my parents actually found it on TV and they recorded it for me. And I was so happy. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna have Grandma with me and we're gonna have Tiffany Grandma Movie Day because she is awesome to watch movies with. Love you, Grandma. So I was really excited and I got it all set up and I had my grandma sitting there with me and we started watching the movie. And I'm having a really fun time. It's suspenseful, I'm enjoying it. And then in the middle of the movie, the power goes out. That's right, in the middle of me watching this movie, the power in my apartment at the time goes completely out. The TV's not working, none of them are working, and it doesn't come on for a couple of hours. I was so annoyed. I was really sad because I had work that evening, and I didn't have time to watch it again before I left. But I said to myself, okay, I'm just gonna watch it the next day, and we'll just have an attempt number 2 of Grandma Tiffany Movie Day. The next day, I go back to put it on. I go back onto my DVR and I'm looking for Unbreakable. And it's not there. And I looked around 15 times to make sure that that movie was not there. And I was so pissed off. I had looked so hard to find that movie on TV because I don't see it super duper often, and it was taken off of Netflix at that point, and it was on there at one time and I was really sad Netflix took it off because that would have been really helpful. The whole point is I tried to watch it, but then it got deleted from my DVR and then we were moving, so I couldn't re-watch it. So this movie has been purposefully, I think, trying to avoid me for some reason, and I don't know why. My dad was a miracle saver and found it, and I finally had movie day with Grandma and we watched Unbreakable. Because I am determined and I don't give up. And that, my friends, is my story. For those of you who want statistics, this has a 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb. That's pretty good. Usually 7 and above, if you haven't used IMDb, means it's a good movie. 6s usually mean that it's either you like it or you don't. Below 6, that's really, really iffy. There have been movies that have gotten below a 6 that I have liked, but those are very far and few in between. So I'm just letting you know if you ever use IMDb, because I know a lot of people use Rotten Tomatoes, and that's a good rating system too. I just use IMDb, and I'm actually on it, which is really cool. I definitely did enjoy this movie. It is very suspenseful. It's mystery, drama, sci-fi. I liked that it had a little bit of a fantasy element in it. You have to watch it to completely understand it. What I mean by that, because I don't want to spoil you, because this is a non-spoilery section. But I know that M. Night Shyamalan's endings tend to be very disappointing, but one thing he is good at is definitely building up that suspense. He keeps you intrigued throughout the entire movie, just the endings just don't nail it sometimes. But there's certain flaws in this. Yes, I liked Split better than this one. I think Split is more suspenseful and intriguing than Unbreakable was, but Unbreakable was still really, 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 really good. Do not get me wrong. I still liked this movie a whole lot. I would say this is a movie you have to be patient with. The pace of it is really slow and suspenseful. And it's nice because it does keep you intrigued throughout that, and the suspense builds as it goes along, but it's just not as fast paced, and I know sometimes that can maybe bug people. I would say go in blind just because it makes it that much more fun. The slow moving aspect of it becomes more endearing and makes you really try and figure out what's going on. It's a puzzle movie, I feel like. I say go in blind, not really knowing a complete synopsis of what it is about, because I feel like if you do, then you're waiting for something to happen. It does have its moments of really high intensity, but it doesn't completely have that. It's not that type of movie. So just don't go in expecting that. For those of you who want a synopsis, this movie follows a character named David, who is the lone survivor of a train crash that happened, and afterwards he ends up getting these messages from a mysterious man who ends up being Elijah Price, and he happens to be obsessed with comic books and superheroes. Elijah believes in a way that David is a superhero. He tries to lead him down that path. Now, whether that's true or not, you have to watch the movie for yourself. All of the actors did an absolutely amazing job with this. For those of you who want the actors in there, there's Bruce Willis, who plays David. There's Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Elijah. Robin Wright is in this as well. There's also his kid, who the actor is named Spencer Treat Clark. Overall, this movie is really, really good. I definitely say give it a chance. Just don't go in expecting it to be like guns a-blazing and really fast-paced overall. It is slower paced. You have to be patient with it, and you really have to pay attention. You have to think. Thank you so much for joining me today. Non-spoilery people, that's all I really want to tell you right now. Go watch this movie and then come back and tell me your feels on it. Leave comments if you want, and just let me know how you felt about this movie when you watched it. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Goodbye, non-spoilery people. Goodbye! Spoilery section time. I really did overall enjoy this movie a whole lot. It definitely kept me in suspense throughout. I didn't really know which route it was going to take, which I really liked. I didn't know if they were actually going to make this supernatural element real, or if they were going to make it that it was a delusion in some way. I was leaning a little bit more to the delusion end than the actual superhero route, but hey, I'm cool with him being a superhero. It's Bruce Willis, why not? I felt like the opening sequence was definitely really intriguing, because the first really introduction is you get to see him on the train coming back from New York, and then the train crashes, and then he ends up being the only one who survives in the hospital. Focus on Bruce Willis with the doctor, and the doctor saying to him that he doesn't have a broken bone in his body and he was basically unharmed. But in the background you see the only other survivor, and you see him bleed to death while the doctor is explaining that. And I thought that was a really cool, unique choice. It was sad. He wanted the other guy to survive, don't get me wrong, but it was interesting how in such a subtle way that can grab your attention while this conversation is going on. Elijah's story in here was very, very interesting to me. Both of the main characters, their stories were very complex and had a lot of depth to them, which I really liked. One thing about Elijah is, because all of you have seen this movie, he ends up being the villain of this whole entire thing. I really like how they create sympathy for him so much at the beginning of this movie. You see that his life has been really, really hard on him, and you know that he's had this obsession with superheroes because of his mom, who introduced him to comics, basically. And you just feel the sympathy. There were moments in there, before you find out he's a little evil thing, I just wanted to give him a hug and be like, it's okay. You're gonna be okay. And also on top of that, his mom was super, super kind. I wonder if they made it that she knew exactly everything he was doing. I don't know. That'd be interesting. They don't really dwell on that. You meet the mom once throughout it, and then you never meet her again. I kind of predicted a little bit that he might have been causing these accidents if he got so obsessed with it that he felt like he needed to find someone who would survive this when it was impossible to survive. You still made him endearing enough that you wouldn't completely 100% give into that. You couldn't completely tell he was evil. There were hints of it. I really liked how they built everything to him figuring out that he is a superhero. Because the first thing, of course, is him being completely uninjured. But then you get the note asking how many days have you been sick, and he's never been sick in his life. Dude, what type of immune system do you have? And then he's able to sense when somebody has a gun in the area, which is really interesting. It just continues to build and build and build and build and build. The weights, that scene was cool to me. I really liked how they built that. Though the kid, we're gonna get to the kid because the kid bugged me immensely. The weight scene, so you see him get strong, then he goes back, then he finds out his weakness, which is water. It just all builds up to the ultimate moment where he realizes he is supposed to be this hero and save people, and that he saves that family from that horrible, horrible murderer person. That was pretty awesome. I thought he was going to die though, because of course he lands in the pool. He had to do this on a day where it is raining. I gotta say though, I haven't actually seen this movie, but the part where he's touching everybody's hands, I thought that was reminiscent, sort of. Is it The Prophecy? I don't know what it's called, but I think it's with Christopher Walken, or maybe he just did the parody of it on SNL. But it's a movie where they touch and they see what's going to happen to somebody, and then there's this really dramatic thing of, oh my gosh, you're going to die. Except he could see just what bad people were going to do. It wasn't, I can save you from this prophecy. It's that, I see what you're doing. And I really thought for a minute that it was going to be one of those things where you have a montage of all of these criminals that he catches before the final battle between his ultimate arch nemesis that he doesn't know is his arch nemesis. I did see the end coming for two reasons mainly. One is because of Split. If you see my other video, there is a twist at the end of Split in a way. Spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled for Split, go ahead and mute it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mute. So I knew that Samuel L. Jackson was bad because mainly of Split, because at the end Bruce Willis does come in and is like, it's Mr. Glass, which was a big reason that prompted me to watch Unbreakable, because I wanted to see how it connected to Split at the end. But then also the lines dropped throughout the movie also hinted at it. Elijah's mom said the main line that made me go, okay, yeah, he's absolutely the bad guy, where she mentions that the villains will sometimes seem like your friend and then they attack you, something on those lines. And then I knew it was kind of referencing Mr. Glass or Elijah. But I gotta say, the ending did disappoint me, but not for the reason that you think. I think it was a solid ending, and I think if you went in this completely blind without having watching Split first especially, then the ending would have been more of an impact. The ending, of course, is you find out that Elijah did all of these horrible, horrible deeds to try and find this person who is his complete opposite. I would have liked to see maybe a bit more of a confrontation, because what happens is Bruce Willis sees that because he grabs Elijah, but then it does a caption thing at the end, like it's a true story, and says that David turned in Elijah and Elijah's now in jail basically forever. I didn't like that there wasn't that confrontation, but Split also made me go on a completely different route, because Split misleads a little bit with that ending, okay? I get Bruce Willis is there and he says Mr. Glass, and I get the whole point is that it introduces this universe potentially, a M. Night Shyamalan universe. I'm okay with that. There's this one line right before Bruce Willis says Mr. Glass. This lady is watching the news on TV talking about James McAvoy's character in Split and how he's still on the loose, who nobody knows where he is. And she makes a comment saying that, didn't they arrest a guy like that a little while ago? What was his name? And then Bruce Willis comes in and says Mr. Glass. So that made me think it was this multiple personality disorder or something like that. I really thought in Unbreakable I was going to see something of a twist like that, so I built myself up for that. So the ending was still disappointing to me, I think because I built it up a little bit too much on my end. But even if I didn't know that going in, and I didn't watch Split going in, I feel like I still would have been a little bit disappointed. Not as badly as I was, but just because there wasn't a full-on confrontation. It's this really quick figuring out that he's the villain. And as soon as David finds out that Elijah is the villain, you find out he's arrested. So it's not this really satisfying ending, but the whole suspense and build up to it was awesome. The most intense scene for me by far though, the moment with the gun and the kid. That kid drove me insane. One, he does endanger his father with the weights. I mean, his father happens to be extremely incredibly strong, so it ends up being okay and actually a cool moment. But still, you don't do that to somebody, because what if he wasn't a superhero? He would get crushed under the weight, and you're too small to lift them up. So that wasn't very smart. Now, was it? And then there's the moment with the gun. The kid is breaking down, because David is trying to tell him that I'm not a superhero, I've drowned before, that kid was me at your school, I'm not a superhero. What does his son do? His son pulls a gun and points it at David and says, I'm going to prove you right and shoot you and you're going to be okay. And I'm just sitting there watching it, going like this and just being like, put the gun down. Just the intensity was so good in that scene, and it kept me on the edge of my seat because I really didn't know if this kid was going to shoot him or not. The fact that his kid is holding the gun at him, I'm thinking that Bruce Willis is going to get shot and he's going to go in the hospital and his kid is just going to have a downward spiral. That kid was not okay. That's where he lost all his cuteness, that little bit that he had, because he was pointing that gun. And luckily he didn't, but I still thought he was going to do something stupid throughout the rest of the movie. I liked Robin Wright a lot in this too. Robin Wright just has a very cool, calm demeanor about her when she acts. It feels very easy and fluid, and I love watching her act. Oh my gosh, she's so much fun to watch. Her character I wish had played a little bit more of a part in it. The main thing is that they go on the date, but then after that he ends up getting that job in New York and you don't really see or hear from her that much again. And I just wish she would have played a little bit of a major part. I did like the whole story though about the car accident and how she wouldn't have been with him if it weren't for the accident because she couldn't be with somebody who played football. But then you find out he sacrificed his football career for her, and I just had an aww moment. That is really all I have to say about this movie. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a really fun time with this, and I'm really glad I watched this, and I'm excited to see if this is another world that M. Night Shyamalan is building, and if it's going to be a universe, or if it's gonna stay at those two movies. But definitely, if you haven't seen Split, go see Split. If you haven't seen Unbreakable, definitely go see Unbreakable. Just watch them both and see how they kind of interconnect a little bit. But thank you so much for watching this. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Thank you for coming in week after week. I really, truly, truly love hearing from each and every one of you, so thank you. If you have any other book or movie recommendations or any other type of video you'd like to see, like a Q&A, book tag, movie tag, whatever, just let me know in the comments below. I love hearing all of your suggestions. Have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Goodbye!